Hello, Steeler Nation. I am back. I'm back from the brink. My dog is laughing it up and all energized tonight, laughing at our misfortune, since my dog is a Browns fan. Thanks, Liza, for letting us know that your team is doing well with your backup quarterback and our team is not. Appreciate it. No, I don't want love. I just want you to know how bad we hurt. We hurt bad. We have not been playing well. We've been looking like absolute dog crap on the field, no execution whatsoever, and I have no confidence in whatsoever for Mitchell Trubisky to move this football down the field to be a good quarterback, let alone a capable quarterback. Shades of Duck playing against Buffalo at home, where you just feel helpless watching the offense. Felt the same way in Baltimore that year with Duck. But it's just the way it is right now. But Duck was technically a fourth stringer. We traded Dobbs at the beginning of that offseason. We still had Rudolph and Duck we kept on the roster because we traded Dobbs. Roethlisberger was our starter. Roethlisberger got hurt. Dobbs got traded away. You know, though at least Duck won some games. Duck finished with a winning record that year. Tell you who's not finishing with a winning record this year. Mitchell frickin' Trubisky. Just like last year. Didn't finish with a winning record last year either. He was a big proponent for our losing record going into that season as well. Guys, this is your show. I need you to pick me up tonight, man, because I am on the brink. I've got to walk it back. You know, it's a tough one. Here we go. Claude Bishop, happy holidays, Stryker. Thank you so much, Claude. Bigger things to worry about than football. Though I will say this, guys. I'm actually making Sunday plans. I've never done that in my life. For Steeler Sunday, other than making plans to watch the game. I've never made plans to do anything else but watch Steeler football on Sundays. That was what I did on Sundays. Now, what's going on? I'll catch the game later. Oh, I got it at halftime. What's the score? Oh, is that bad? I guess I'll watch the second half. I guess I'm not going to review and watch the first half. To Burrow! Welcome to Marv Lewis's Pittsburgh Steelers. The last 10 years might have talented players, but I love your dog's coat. You must be cracking some raw eggs over that dog food. No, though the dog does have the benefit of, we're on septic and we are on pump out here in the wilds of Maryland, west of Baltimore. So she gets to lick every single butter plate, butter used in cooking. Oh my God, stop. She's making a noise from the dog pound over there, rooting against my Steelers. So she gets all of the olive oil. She gets all of the oils, licks them out of the bowls, pans, plates, jars. They never go down the sink. They go into my dog's mouth, and her coat is shiny for it. So good noticing that with your eyes there, Robert. Can we get Big Ben out of retirement? I'm telling you one thing, Joe Flacco playing the way he's playing, I'm thinking like, yeah, what? Ben should be better than Joe Flacco. Should be, but the way Ben retired, I was actually thinking about that today, and I extended that thought. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to have Ben back too. It would be great. But just the way he went out on that big high, like winning in Baltimore to close out his career, last home game, beating the Browns at home, and just the way that game made it so he could come out and kneel down and end his time in Pittsburgh with the ball in his hands, closing out the clock, sitting on the field for essentially another 15 minutes before doing a couple laps, walking around with his family, just soaking in every single moment of that last home game. I sat there. I sat there for a half hour after Ben left the field. I was just in awe of the moment. And to try to think that moment could happen again, you know, I'd rather have that moment than Ben off the field on a stretcher because he's not in game shape. He can still play and he can still win. Don't get me wrong. He's better than anybody that we have on our roster right now that's active. I think Kenny Pickett's a better player, but at this moment, but Ben, man, yeah, I do miss Ben. I do miss him though, Jimmy. Claude, everyone is blaming Tomlin for our quarterback play has been terrible. That is true. Defense has been, letting up some big plays early in games too. This is the first time we've actually gotten to a shot where we're able to come back into a game when we were down multiple scores, because with this offense, if we go down 10 points, game's over. That's the way I feel. And they came back from a solid, 3 touchdowns to make it manageable. Like it was 21-10. Made it manageable if they scored on that freaking drive, as opposed to not getting anything out of that one drive after the interception. Kick the field goal. We were tying that game at the end, and might have won it in overtime. Who knows? We win ugly. That's how this team wins, but did not happen. Yoder! Hey there, Stryker. Win or lose, go Steelers. That is the right attitude, my friend. And that's what I need some help, though. Well, I'm going to need some help with my beer. I'm going with the Oak Barrel Stout from Fordham Dominion Brewing. So I found it at the Delaware State Line Liquors when I DJ'd last Thursday at the Philadelphia airport and emceed for their fashion show. Grabbed this on the way back. Good value. It was like $12 for a 15 pack. So might as well give it a try. Oh yeah, that goes down easy. Nice and wet. Cool. Crack them if you got them, Steeler Nation. Join me. Brian Brown, depressed? Come on, Stryker. The Bills are 7-6. The Chiefs are 8-5. Mitch is an interception waiting to happen, but Mason may get his shot. Football justice. I absolutely hope Mason gets a shot. I would rather have Mason out there than Trubisky. Really. I am done with Trubisky. Hell, I'd rather have McSorley out there than Trubisky. Anybody but Trubisky right now. I thought Trubisky was more mobile. I thought he was smarter. He is just making dumb play after dumb play after dumb play. I'm done with Mitchell. Really am. To Burrow, I mentioned last episode that Rudolph is clearly the best of our options, yet in offseason picking up Cleveland's quarterback who went to Tampa or even a week, Joe Flacco. What smart Steelers do. I can't disagree with that. I'm with you there. I've been saying I've always liked Mason Rudolph's deep arm. I've been saying it for 3 years since Ben hurt his elbow. Has the best deep ball on the team, and I will continue to say it because I see it every preseason, throwing 40-yard dimes. And I hate that he's only doing it in preseason. I say we give him a shot. Absolutely say we give him a shot. Claude, Mitch is not an NFL quarterback. I think it's time to give up on Mitch. I think it's time to think about dumping his contract or trading him as well if we can get anything for him. Tim Burrow, a smart Steelers coach, would have done what I suggested, wouldn't they? You don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. They're not thinking we're going to get 3 deep for the most part, but Trubisky definitely has not been the answer. And, it's always, fun to make these arguments in hindsight, but as they happen, we're not making those arguments immediately as they happen, but it's definitely something to think about now. And I agree with that. Claude, they play this Saturday at 4th. Oh, that's right. Well, good things I didn't make Saturday plans then, right? I made Saturday plans. I'm going to eat my poop. That's what Browns fans do. Oh, that's how you're so happy all the time. You get to eat your poop. Yes, you do. You're such a good girl. You're such a good girl. She is. I do love her. She's a heck of a good dog, even though she likes the Browns. So guys, Saturday, 4:30, Steelers. That's great. I'm going to be able to see the game. Michael Scott Joyner. A lot of reports on trading Tomlin. What are your thoughts? I am not hating the idea. Well, if you've been on this show, the first person to bring it up was Tim Burrow. So Tim Burrow and I have been talking about this for 2 years. And, a lot of people on the radio, like Tim Burrow, I meant radio. I wasn't meaning print ad stuff when I said they're the ones that hang up on you when you have a differing opinion. They call you dumb. They hang up. I listen to everybody. I give it some thoughts. I might not agree with it, but I'm not going to say any idea is a dumb idea. It just might not be something that I would agree with. But this is one I do agree with Tim Burrow. I thought that it does have some legs. If you're going to lose Tomlin, why not get some draft picks out of him? That's not a bad idea because someone like the Washington Commanders would definitely give up multiple first-round draft picks for Mike Tomlin. Absolutely would. And is that a conversation the Steelers would take? Is that a conversation that Rooney would accept? Because the conversations would technically happen with the GM. It would be, it would be a comms, communication first, speaking with other clubs, saying, okay, well, this is possible. Are we going to do it? Talk to Rooney about it, probably before bringing it to Tomlin, because there has to be consensus. And he's an icon. The guy is an absolute icon. It would be disheartening to the locker room if we lost a guy like Tomlin. We're starting over. We'd have a new quarterback and a new coach, which I don't think has ever happened in the Steelers. Always one is established before the other one comes on. Noel was established in 69, though he drafted. When did he draft Bradshaw? 71, I think, 70 or 71, but he wasn't the starter until 74, not full-time starter until 74. So there's a process of establishing a quarterback with the coach's philosophy. This would be a first time where, we really don't know who our coach, our quarterback is, or who our coach is, because we had transitions, though we didn't have a quarterback transition between Noel and Cower. I don't think O'Donnell was on Noel's roster for some reason. I can look that up because that's something interesting to think about. But there was consistency there, at least when Cower left and Tomlin took over. Ben Roethlisberger was already established and a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like, that's the problem that a lot of these other teams have. Like Cleveland Browns, the wash, rinse, repeat. Fire the GM, fire the coach, fire the quarterback. Get rid of the quarterback. Wash, rinse, repeat. And they never have consistency because they're constantly getting rid of those players, going through different people, going down to Chuck Noll's last year and his stats. Yep, Neil O'Donnell was extended across. And Neil O'Donnell was a good quarterback. Bubby Brister was also on that roster, but Neil O'Donnell was the better quarterback in 1991 with 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 78 rating to Bubby Brister's 9-9 for touchdowns to interceptions, 72 rating, 1,900 yards for O'Donnell, 1,350 for Bubby that year. That was when Bubby started on his way out. Neil O'Donnell started on his way in because I don't think the previous year O'Donnell had better stats than Brister. Yep, it was Brister and Rick Strom. So Noel did draft O'Donnell. O'Donnell did play as a starting quarterback for a year with Noel, with an easier transition for Cower, and Cower did take an O'Donnell team to the Super Bowl, nearly 2 Super Bowls. That one San Diego game that all kills us old heads on the inside. Remembering that one, man, that one was always rough. Brian! There you go, Claude. Robert, your dog making that squeaky sound while you yourself are always having to eat crow to hear from me. That's always been speaking the truth is delightfully comical. I'm glad I'm giving you a smile on your face, my friend. Hey, we got friends all across. Hey, Claude. What's up, Brian? Jimmy Pittman, welcome to the show. I miss Big Ben as well, man. He deserved another ring before he retired. I absolutely wish he did get another ring. Almost got that one in 2010. Would have been awesome. Anthony Wayne Farrell Jr., welcome to the show. Do we still keep high hopes in Pickett being quarterback 1 next year? Hopefully he gains knowledge film being out right now. Well, the only issue with Pickett is his progression. We need to bring a quarterback-focused, offensive-minded, point scoring, creative technician in to this team to help us be better than the sum of our parts. Like, we need somebody to actually call plays that help us out, that aren't easily diagnosed by defenses, that allow us to be more diverse and tougher to figure out pre-snap, to give Kenny that extra amount of time and extra space on the field to be able to make the plays that he can make. So we'll have to see how that works out. But I think that would be a good step right there, Anthony Wayne. Micah Scott Joyner, 4th and 2. Why go for the home run ball when Robinson is sitting at the sticks wide open? Trubisky thought he had him. He didn't. Missed him. Missed him bad. It sucks. Bad execution. Claude, lots of injuries, bad quarterback play, and some poor coaching pretty much sums up the season. Now, I wouldn't say the coaching has been bad all season until the last few weeks, but this team's done a really good job of keeping this coaches have done an excellent job of keeping these games close without an offense to give us a chance to win at the end of games. We've had some well-managed games throughout the year up until recently, up until the last couple weeks. Just doing dumb things with clock management the last couple weeks where I don't agree the clock management has been bad throughout Tomlin's tenure. Some of you guys like to point to that. Guys, I've watched Edwards as a coach over at the Jets. If you want to see bad clock management, that guy was the worst at it. Reed used to be bad in Philly, though it wasn't really Reed's fault. It was the way that McNabb managed the clock. A quarterback making bad timeouts late in games, holding the ball too long, not calling timeouts quick enough, sometimes failing to call timeouts. Dude just didn't know how to manage games at the end of games, and that falls on Reed as well. Gomo! No, Ben is out. Yeah, that pretty much, right, Gomo? Welcome to the show, too. John Thomas, you have a Vizsla, too. Yes, fellow Vizsla owners unite. Thank you, John Thomas. Is yours a red or a brown? Our strain are huge, too. My girl right here is 55 pounds, and I can pet her standing straight up, being 6 foot. A lot of Vizslas I know about a head shorter than she is, because she looks like a monster Vizsla compared to some of these others. And there's some of the sires in her breed that have hit 75 pounds that are setting that one of them set the what's the Fast Cat record for Vizslas. Or actually Fast Cat record in general, held it for a little bit a couple years back, and monster Vizsla, big one. 75 pounds, because usually Vizslas are supposed to be 55 pounds for males, 45 pounds for females. We got a big strain in this line. They must got some Weimaraner in them or something. Brett Short, Big Ben deserves one more shot at another Super Bowl. I wish. Drew Bolensky, what up, Stryker? Mitch has more upside than Mason. Mason may throw a nice deep ball, but that's all he has. At least Mitch has the use of his legs to get yards and make plays. I would rather have Kenny. We'd all rather have Kenny. Don't get me wrong. I would rather have Kenny than Rudolph or Mitch Trubisky. Completely agree with you too there, Drew. But the thing about Mitch is always he's not using his legs the way he should be using his legs, in my opinion. I think he's not moving out of the pocket early enough to create some plays with his feet just to keep the defense maybe a little bit honest on the back end. Maybe keep a spy in on him. Tamburo, because you agreed that's what smart Steelers do. We know that's what the Steelers coach did. So add 1 + 1 and get 2, please. I don't call people smart or dumb. I don't call people names, but hindsight's always 20/20, my friend. Claude Bishop, they still in, but it does look bad. Yeah, I can't believe that they're still in. Like, as badly as they played, losing to two-win teams this late in the season, back-to-back, and we're still in the playoffs. Still in the playoff hunt. That's insane. I mean, we have to win out to make it in, essentially, because all these other – I think Buffalo's got a good shot at making the playoffs now. Now that they're starting to win, they got a big win against Kansas City. That does a lot for their team morale because they've had a lot of close losses to good teams this year. It's a good team over there. If they start connecting, look out. They're going to go on a run, and they could go on a Super Bowl run. Doesn't matter where they get in the playoffs. This team is talented enough to win anywhere, anytime if they're executing, because they've got talent on both sides of the ball. Omar, not a huge Mason fan. I agree he has a great deep ball. They haven't played him, though. Why? In hindsight, he did seem to do better than Pickett so far. I hope he gets another shot with another team, and I wish him well. I wish him well, too. And if the only way he's getting on the field, it sounds like, due to the coaching staff, is if Trubisky gets hurt. That's the only way he's getting on the field. Rick Giddings, welcome back to the show, my friend. Heading to Indy Friday morning. I'm rocking my Trubisky jersey. Good. I hope you bring him some luck. If not, I hope you're playing on the field instead of him so we have better quarterback play. But all kidding aside, have a blast at the game, Rick. I hope Trubisky plays well for you. Otherwise, you're either going to be the most hated or loved fan in that stadium, because if Trubisky does poorly, the Indy fans are going to love you. If Trubisky does excellent and wins the game, Indy fans are going to hate you. So that's how you go on that one. John Miles still comes down to a guy who couldn't beat the winless Detroit Lions and lose his starting job to Duck Hodges. Yeah, but he didn't lose to them either. Remember that. Remember, it took a record-setting field goal for the front-running Ravens to beat the winless Lions that same season, guys. Football isn't played in a microcosm. They are good. Even though they were winless that season, they're still able to win any given Sunday. It's just the way it is with teams. We're down quarterbacks. Quarterbacks get hurt. It happens. It happens. Claude Bishop. Tomlin deserves to coach out his contract 1 year if he so desires. I agree with that stance. I really do. That's generally the way that the Rooney family does business. Though, you know, if we were to lose Tomlin before that and he was traded and we got draft picks, I would accept that as well. I really would. Tim Burrow. Mitch Trubisky was in the Pro Bowl a few years ago and had some very, very good multiple seasons with the Bears. So on a short week coming from out of country, he's Indianapolis. So after a short week coming from out of country, here's Indianapolis. Mitch will do better. I like that assessment, Tim Burrow. So Indy's coming back from out of country on a short week. We all hope that we can perform a little bit better than we have been. Tim Burrow, for many years before Stryker ever began his little podcast, but I don't think you weren't with me in 16 and 17. So before I ever jumped on with him, I've been saying we need to trade Tomlin, and I am much proof of that. Truth. Yep. I gave you props for that when I started talking about that. Brett Short. Ben said his arm feels good, just waiting on the Steelers to call. Yeah, you know, it's nice to think about. It is. Rick Giddings. John Mahler's, it's his face. Even I would like to put a helmet to his dome. Oh, for Mitch Trubisky. Yeah. I hear that. He does have a punchable face, or a helmet slammable head. Michael Hall of Fame. Howdy, Captain. Howdy, Michael Hall. Glad to hear from you, my friend. We've been missing you over here. Edward James. Joe Flacco is showing that he's a better quarterback when all three of our quarterbacks. Joe Flacco, than all three of our quarterbacks. What a sad state of affairs it is. That's the way I felt when Dobbs got traded for the second time this season, and he goes off on a tear there for Minnesota for a couple weeks. I'm like, best quarterback the Steelers had is playing for Minnesota right now. Or at least still have currently playing in the league. Shaka Steele back again. Aloha from Maui. Aloha, mahalo, my friend. Good to have you. Hope you're enjoying your beautiful weather as we are dealing with the cold doldrums in the Northeast. Freezing temperatures. We got our first snow for the past 2 years here in the Baltimore area 2 days ago. 2-hour delay. Daughter's playing out in the snow, having a great time. But yeah, but we didn't get any snow last year that stuck. Not enough to make a snowball. She could roll the giant snowball in the front yard. It's still sitting there. All the rest of the snow's gone, but the snowball is still there. But you enjoy your beautiful weather and surf, my friend. Always good to have your cheery disposition. John Mahler's a new offensive coordinator and a new playbook and schemes. That always comes with a new offensive coordinator, is a new playbook. Definitely need that. Claude Bishop, coaching not just Tomlin, but Canada. And let's hope that Austin takes that Syracuse job. Fingers crossed. Honey Project, honey. Guys, want to see some good or listen to great music? Follow the Honey Project. Go on over there. Sorry we're late. ADD is real. Tell me about it. So is depression. So is Steelers in-season depression. I definitely feel more down on a week that the Steelers have lost than I feel on a week that the Steelers have won. I feel more up. That's just the way it is. I don't know if you guys are wired the same way. My disposition is linked to the Steelers' successes and failures. Pete Moore, welcome to the show. All three quarterbacks are backups at best. I don't think Kenny's quite a backup yet. He's a winner. He does pretty well. We'll have to see where he goes. Robert C. Who's this Robert? It's got a new avatar over here. Who's this guy? I got him confused with Robert Burrow all the time. You call me names all the time. Of course I do, Cooley. It's fun to call you names. Honey Project. Going out on a limb here, Steelers run through Najee and Warren for 225 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns on the ground. Boosts us to a 24-14 win. I can only hope. Fingers freaking crossed. Fingers freaking crossed. Robert, Pat's game was the last loss of the season. Yes, I'm drunk. Hey, cheers. I've got a stout I'm drinking. What are you drinking tonight, Cooley? You tell me. Cheers to Steeler Nation. Anybody that mentions they're drinking, I'm drinking. All right. Thin limb granted. Granted. Drew, I get you with Mitch. To be fair, he's played 7 quarters of ball all season. Let's all hope Mitch puts a better game together Saturday. O-line needs to protect better too. Exactly. That's exactly well said. I can see all of those points. Solid argument. Cannot disagree with it. I want him to do better, and I hope he does. Absolutely hope he does. Brian Davis, what is your opinion on Mahomes' rant tantrum when it was a clear penalty and knowing that they won a Super Bowl off a penalty on the Eagles? Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what I thought about Mahomes on the sideline, watching it in real time, and having an opinion that nobody has an opinion that is strong enough or confident enough to have as a talking head. I thought it was an immature move. We see a wide receiver do anything close to that, we're calling them a head case. I thought it was immature. I thought it was beneath him. I thought it looked bad on him. I thought it looked bad on the city. I thought it looked bad on the Chiefs. And it looked bad for all the little Swiftie fans trying to figure out what football is. To have this prima donna guy that's just feels like he's just gifted Lombardi's when he walks out on the field, now having to work through stuff. He's never had to work through adversity before yet. Now he's going to. And he was offside. I watched the play. It's like clearly he's offside. Foot is in the neutral zone. He did not turn to the left when I was a wide receiver. What did I do every time I lined up? Turned to the right, looked at the line judge. Line judge either nods or goes like this. If he goes like this, you take a step back. Because I always put my hand up. If you're putting your hand up, you're asking for a call from the line judge to see if you're on side. If you're on side, they usually head nod or go like this. If you're not, they'll go like this to have you move. You're offside. That's your job. Your first job on the field of play, make sure you're lined up appropriately. Covering the end, on the line of scrimmage, not offside, not back too far that the end is not covered. I've got to let my dog out because wants to go upstairs for some reason, and I'm not going to have her whine the entire rest of the show. The cat's still laying here at my feet. Had both animals in the room, but they're starting to get into each other a little bit now. I can't wait. I'd love to have them like just take a nap together. That would just be like my ultimate. But that's just for the Mahomes aspect. Brian Davis, good question. I think it was immature. And all of the talking heads going out and trying to defend him it's lip service and it's horrific. You know, it's weak broadcasting. You understand the rules. A lot of them played the game that are trying to defend him. The Shannon Sharp one was just dumb. Rules as written, you can't do it. You can't complain about the refs. They're going to fine you. Can't say a foul's not a foul. They're going to fine you. It was a foul. Clearly it was a foul. Sure, it looked awesome. Shit, how many great runs have we had down this year get called back because of holding? You don't see Kenny Pickett crying every time that happens, or Najee Harris, or Warren. It happens. You foul, go back and restart. It sucks. But that's not the reason why they lost the game. They had 2 more plays after that. They want to blame it on the refs. The game was still in your hands. Like Ben Roethlisberger missing that one pass on the one side of the in the Cardinals Super Bowl, overthrowing a little bit to Holmes, comes back the next side, much tougher throw, makes it, drops it on a dime in the bucket. Perfect catch too by Holmes. You either make the plays or you don't. You guys remember that Jesse James play? A lot of you guys hated that play. Sucked. We had 2 extra plays to get back into the end zone after that. We didn't do it. We always remember that play that didn't work, that was called a touchdown. Now those within the rules, it is always going to be ruled a touchdown now. At the time, it wasn't. We had to accept the rules as written. Sucked. Bitter pill. We forgot there were 2 other plays after that play. I didn't. I knew there was a shot, but that one hurt. That one hurt. John Thomas. My Frankie weighed 76 pounds the last time he was weighed back in the summer. You got a big one, too. Is it tall or just round? Those Visas are great dogs, though. I do love my girl. Brian Davis, I'm in Pittsburgh. First time home in 5 years, taking care of family. Good to hear. Welcome back into the Berg. Hope you're. How long are you staying? Because I'll probably be out there for the Cincy game coming up here close to Christmas time. Tim Burrow, instead of your yearly ritual of competing with the Browns at the end of the season to pretend we're the best, even though we're playing for who's the worst, would be Steelers-Bengals doing that. Who wants it? Looks like we won it this year, Tim Burrow. It does, sadly. Omar, thoughts on Ben's comment about the loss of the Steelers culture? I think Ben is kicking you. It's more like kicking you while you're down. Ryan Clark did mention something last year about the Steeler culture, which is heavy hitting on defense, forcing your will on offense. You know, tough, hard-nosed play. Problem is, the way that the rules are now, running backs are getting fined more money putting their head down than defenders are trying to put their head down to tackle them. The league is not a hard-nosed league anymore. The hits back where we were like, yeah, growing up are now like, oh, damn, that's a penalty. It's like, that's our game now. Our game has changed. During Ben's era, the game has changed. Highlighted by Harrison. James Harrison's hits, taking on the league, knocking out 2 brownies in the same game, getting over 100,000 in fines that game. That was a huge payday loss at the time. And the game has never been the same since. Absolutely hasn't. People playing more timid. Tackling lacking. Can't even practice tackling. Can only go in shorts or in full pads seems like 12 times, 15 times a season on a 17-week schedule. That's atrocious. It's a soft league. The league is way softer than it was than when Ben got into it, from when Ben got out of it. It's a way softer league. Sucks. It's not fun to watch, but that's the way it is. Update. Oh, what's up, Hall? Tim Burrow, have the Bengals replaced the Browns this year for who Steelers will compete with to see who the Steelers AFC worst Bengals in the championship AFC last 2 years straight out and won it last year. Yeah, but their backup is doing way better. So I think it's going to be us and the Browns competing. And right now the Browns seem to be edging us. Michael Hall, TJ cleared to play. Actually, by rule, TJ cannot be cleared to play yet, Michael Hall, and I will explain it. He is in concussion protocol. In concussion protocol, how you clear concussion protocol is a 2-step process. You have to be fully active, full participant in a practice, the entire practice, come back the next day, be full participant in 2 straight practices to then be cleared from concussion protocol. There are instances where you can practice on a Friday and be cleared on a Saturday or Sunday before the game, just making sure you don't have the symptoms anymore. But what we had was TJ was a limited participant Wednesday practice. He was a full participant today. We need him to be a full participant through tomorrow, not having any lingering effects through there and Saturday morning, and he is cleared to play in that football game, which I think he will. Right now, Highsmith, I don't think has practiced fully yet. So he still has a chance to come out and practice fully tomorrow. Still has a chance to play in the game, getting cleared either on Saturday or Sunday before the game. But the easiest way to get cleared is through 2 straight full practices. So we will see if TJ is a full practice participant tomorrow. If he is, he's cleared. John Maulers, seeing the helmets behind you, I have a custom made. You made like awesome. I do like some, like the white one. I like the matte black. I've seen those, but these are the ones the Steelers have actually worn. You know, the original leather helmet, then going with just the number helmets, like back that's a John Henry Johnson helmet. During those days, until we got to the point where Steelers petitioned the U.S. Steel to be able to print this first logo on the yellow helmet, the U.S. Steel logo, before changing it to Steelers on the far right. Though I don't have the in the 70s, the logo was like smaller on a bigger helmet, it seemed. But now it's like it's good. It's a good ratio. I like the way that the helmets have progressed throughout the years. The one year we did wear a green helmet with a white wing on it when we were the Steagles. That is the only one I have not have. I do have an Eagles helmet. I've got a McNabb helmet, but that's on the other side of the room. Next one up. Timburo! Browns beat the Steelers in the playoffs, so I'm good at math and promise 1 + 1 is not equal to, and you're being a fake Steeler fan if you've been pretending we're elite that many years. We've been pretty damn good for a lot of years, Robert. You're kind of being a little too harsh on this team, saying that we might not be elite, but we've been a good team for a long time. Long time. John Maulers, I live in Springfield, Virginia. That's not far at all. Yeah, I'm up in Mount Airy, Maryland. So not too far from you, my friend. We're neighbors. Ian, hey, Stryker. Hey, Ian. Sorry being late for Got You went on. No problem. I think we're going to have to address our problems with the inside linebackers and secondary in the draft. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit back and forth on Instagram when you slid into my DM, as you like to do, my friend. But I'm fine with that, Ian. Yeah, but like I said, they solved the problem this offseason. 3 great options to come in and rotate. 2 of them got hurt. Actually, all 3 of them got hurt, but fortunately, Landon Roberts wasn't as serious. He's able to come back and participate. I'm holding out hope that Neal gets back as well. So we'll have to see. But yeah, but still, yeah, it is smart to start drafting inside linebackers too, to help in that room and get some young blood in there as well. Omar, drinking Labatt Blue Light. Cheers. Cheers to the Steelers, my friend. And the Bengals fan is on my lap. Yeah, we're just coming back. It doesn't matter who our quarterback is. We just know we can win. Meow. We're the best. Yeah, whatever. Your Bengals suck. Take the Eska loser home, please. Cooley, remembering my dad by drinking Bud Light, his favorite drink. Also have some Garrison Brothers honey bourbon. Ooh, for added kick, since Bud Light is water. Cheers. That's 2 drinks to you then. One for the Bud Light. One for the Garrison Brothers, my friend. I'd love to try that one. I haven't had the Garrison Brothers honey yet. I do like me some whiskeys, though. Timburo, Ian's a real Steeler fan. Welcome, brother. Yep, we're all about the same age here, Robert. We're all the old heads. Hey, Robert, how's it going? Tim Peoples, welcome to the show, Tim. Let us know if you got any questions or comment. Michael Scott Joyner. Clearly, that line judge was a Bills fan. Well, he was right. Right. Okay, I see that. Okay, the little sarcasm there in that one. Beer, cannabis. Hell yeah, I'll drink to cannabis. I got to smoke my first cannabis on a show a couple weeks ago after a game. Being in Maryland and being legal now, I do a one-hitter every once in a while. I can always fall asleep off of a one-hitter if I'm like at a point where I'm not tired at all. I can just go to sleep if I do a one-hitter. Because the medical marijuana be strong in this state. Timburo, sorry, that was meant for emojis. No worries, man. No worries. Drew Balansky! Sucks that the first half against the Pats put us in a position to not run the ball. Really hope we can. Najee and Jalen, lots of chances to control the game versus the Colts. True, and the Pats were a much better run defense team anyway. So it was tougher for us to establish against the Patriots than it will be to establish against the Colts. I think we can establish against the Colts. Evan Riley Hinders, welcome to the show. Should Pittsburgh sign Eric Fisher? He might not start right now if signed. Eric Fisher. I'm looking it up because I don't know everybody. The offensive tackle. Is he available right now? I mean, right now I don't see, unless you're saying he's going to come in for more. I like Jones. I like what he's been doing. Alex Kazor has been breaking down his film, and he's looking good from what I've seen in the breakdown. Sure, he's going to have some mistakes here and there, but he's a rookie. Got a big ceiling on that kid and a big frame on that kid. So we'll have to see how he does. But if Eric Fisher's available, why not? Why not bring him into the mix? Can't hurt. Claude Bishop, should the Steelers start Mason if and when Mitch struggles in the second half of Saturday's game? I've always been yes. I thought he should have started last game. But this team seems like they're not going to replace Trubisky unless he's just abhorrent, unless he gets hurt. It seems like the only way Rudolph's going to get on the field is if Mitch is hurt. John Mahlers, I have a Wellington lab weighing in at 115 pounds of muscle. I know those muscular 115-pound labs. They're such a good boy. They're such a good boy. You want some more food? Oh, you love food. Here's some more food. Such a food-driven dog, too. My dog is very food-driven as well. Like, I get her to do anything on food. Very trainable. John Thomas. LOL, Frankie's quite muscular and quite the swimmer. His energy can be endless. He makes the cats quite nervous at times. Awesome. And that's the odd thing about my dog specifically. I don't know about the other Vizsla we have here on the board tonight, but my dog hates water. Will not go near it. Has webbed toes. Will not go near the water. Whether it's spraying on a hose, coming off a faucet, hates being in the shower when we wash her, but she hates water. Hates water. Won't poop in the rain. She'll wait a couple days till the rain's done and then poop. And the Patriots pretty much used the same plays the Cardinals did, running the tight end up the seam. Thompson and KZ got burned on those plays. Exactly. When you go up against Belichick, if something worked, he is going to pound at it. And we're in an injury situation where we have no answer. Our only answer in that situation now is to start putting Fitzpatrick on the freaking tight ends. That is the only answer. And have KZ play free. That's the only answer. Because he's at least athletic enough to cover tight ends. Michael Hall. I'm at TJ is now cleared to play for Saturday. Just got that update saying that he is cleared. Oh, then I guess we started practicing on Tuesday. Then so that's why I'm thinking on a normal schedule. We're practicing on Tuesday. Let me go to the team here. Let me go to the injury report. You may be 100% right on that. Yep, you're right. He was limited on Tuesday. Full practice Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. No, it might have cleared on your end, but at least from what I've known for the rules for concussion protocol, he has not passed the required rules yet. 2 straight full practices. KZ was full today. Najee, KZ, Pierre all full today. Roberts was limited. Probably rested him. Alex Highsmith has been limited both. I said that when I was going through off my mind. Samalu did not practice yet this week. Deontay Johnson with his knee today took the day off. Full practices, though, for Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, and Keanu Benton was limited as well. He's been limited all week. He's a big boy with an oblique. You don't want to force that. Keep him rested as much as we can. So, yeah, by definition, even though you got an alert for that, I don't trust it because by rule, you have to have 2 cleared full practices to be able to be cleared to play. So I'm waiting for tomorrow for his full practice, and I'm fully expecting him to have a full practice tomorrow. Evan Riley Hinters. Can Pittsburgh elevate Trace McSorley? Yes, he actually technically gets elevated to the 3rd string quarterback from the practice squad directly. That happened last week. He dressed last week as well, and he will dress again this week, being the 3rd quarterback activated from the practice squad. To Burrow, NW Best. Oh, here we go. Northwest Best. Hops on Earth. Biatches. Elevator brand 99% THC blueberry puree gummy stuff. Oh, you're doing the gummies. I haven't started doing gummy yet. I would love to, because I loved edibles back before smoking became legal. But now, at least with the production of gummies, everything's a little bit more consistent. You know how much you can take. Adam, Stryker, my family, and I will be at the Cincinnati game as well, coming up from Richmond, Virginia area. Awesome, Adam. Great. Well, I'll be at the terrible tailgate definitely that day. So come on over and see us at the terrible tailgate. Ian Slittich here. What? Yep. I'm hoping Pittsburgh re-signed Walker. I didn't think that we got rid of. I thought he's still on the roster, right? He should still be on the roster. Checking the roster right now. I didn't think we got rid of him. I don't know if I'm just confused. Player. Yeah, Michael Walker's still on the roster. Yeah, he's rostered at linebacker. So, don't know what that one meant. And where's my thing? Oh, here we go. Good evening, Bubba Sperry. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Let us know if you got questions or comments. Ulysses Prince. How you doing, Ulysses? Tomlin and his staff must go. There we go. We got an anti-Tomlin. Time to go. Claude Bishop. Steelers fans are spoiled, rotten, and act like the Steelers are 1-12. That is true. But Steeler fans expect excellence. We expect to win games. We don't expect to lose games. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm expecting a loss. That's a rare thing to expect as a Steeler fan. Ulysses Prince, the Roonies are totally culpable for this disaster. Ian White, I don't think the Steelers tradition is gone per se. It needs a little bit of adjustment. We have young talent that wants to win and they hate to lose, so emotions may run high once in a while. I tell you, I like the mental makeup of these new players. Like we start talking about Jones. I love the mental makeup of Najee Harris. He's a team leader. I like Porter. I like his mental makeup. He's a young player. Of course, I love Watt. I love Hayward. Those guys, you're never going to lose the team with those guys. Those guys are going to give it 110% every game. Still wait, like Fitzpatrick, he's got all the talent in the world. My problem with Fitzpatrick is he's not that impactful player that is impactful every game. Like he'll make a play, a big play, turn the game, win a game for us. Then we might not hear from him for 3 or 4 games. That is it's nothing on him. It's just I expect more from him. I shouldn't have to. Like Troy Polamalu made a play every game from the safety position. Ed Reed played the same position as Fitzpatrick. That guy is probably the best safety I've ever watched. There's times where at the height of Polamalu and the height of Ed Reed, I was like, I'd rather have Ed Reed than Polamalu. I know that's blasphemy for a lot of Steeler fans. I know they do play separate spots, but man, that guy could take away a football. Absolutely could take away a football. But, in the round end of it, Polamalu's better run tackler, better in the run game, all-around game, and just did athletic stuff that was freakishly, like no other person could do. Just the way it was. Ulysses, the root concept is straight dumpster juice. Absolutely. We've been mentioning that on the show. I'm a former receiver. Robert, hitting various vape pens, wash gummy down with more beer breweries anywhere now on earth or ever in history, mostly Sicilian Energy Plus. Steelers love. Cheers, fellow Steeler fans. And remind me, too, where you're from, Robert. I've got a mental block on where you are in the nation. I think you're on West Coast somewhere. But please remind me. Mitch is playing because of his contract. Yeah, he's signed for another 2 years. I did a quick look, too, to see how his contract works next year if he's released. And I've got that coming up, right? It's loading currently as I'm talking to you. Because that's a factor. That's a factor because he's one of our top 10 highest paid players. And for some reason, it is not freaking loading. Great. There it goes. I had to reset it. So Trubisky's still a top 10 guy next year. If we get rid of him, that's this year. You can't get rid of him this year. You're upside down. You're losing money if you do. But for next year, if Mitch gets taken away, it's Fitzpatrick. Where is he? He's this right now, currently the third highest player on the roster for next year. At 21 mil would be his cap hit. 20 and dead cap. We'd only save $1 million if we got rid of him. We'd only save $1 million. Oh, that's Minka Fitzpatrick. What the heck am I looking at his thing for? Mitchell Trubisky, he's down here. Never mind. $3 million in savings. $3 million in savings if we get rid of him next year, but he only has a 7.5 mil cap hit, which is nothing for, since our starting quarterback's on a rookie cap. That's nothing. So, but interesting to think about. Absolutely interesting to think about. Michael Hall. Do not know if you answer this, but do you think should be who do you think should be our offense coordinator for next year? My opinion should be Byron Leftwich. Yeah, Eric Bieniemy is another one we're starting to talk about, especially with Washington. Looks like they're going to fire everybody because they already got rid of the coach. So they're going to bring in a whole new system next year, which means Eric Bieniemy is going to be out of a job. That's another good offensive play caller, won a Super Bowl with KC. Guy knows what he's doing. Tim Burrow, Big Ben would know more make a good coach than Mario Lemieux or Michael Jordan or even Troy, because those guys don't understand how a normal human is. I'd argue that Ben doesn't know it either, Robert. Really, I would. And I've mentioned that in the past when people asked me if I thought Ben would be a good coach. I think he makes a much better, TV personality or commentator. Absolutely. The guy's a freak athlete. Like, freak athletes make bad coaches. Guys that have to work hard for it. Cowher had to work hard to get in the league. Was a big special teams player in the league. That's how he stuck around for a bit. Never got to be the linebacker he wanted to be, but was a big special teams player and worked hard. That's why he was a good coach. Same thing with Noel. Worked hard, as a good coach. Generally the Hall of Fame players never become a Hall of Fame coach in any league that I can think of. Not in hockey, not in basketball, not in football, maybe in baseball. Baseball, you'd have more of a chance at it because there's so much time everybody's thinking during baseball. I'd argue to say probably a Hall of Fame player became a Hall of Fame coach in baseball, though I can't remember one offhand. Tim Burrow, you need to understand, overachiever who had no business making the NFL like a Bill Cowher, because he knows how to do it from the heart and working extra, which I just said. Yep, we were both on the same wavelength there, my friend. TJ has now been cleared. You say that, but by rule, John, by rule, he doesn't have 2 full practices yet. And he has to be symptom-free after tomorrow's practice to be cleared. Bill Cowher wasn't big at all. He was super small for the NFL, yet he made it by working harder. And Mike Tomlin had easy in all white schools where he had to work less hard. I disagree with that completely. You have to work hard. William & Mary is a tough school. That's a tough school to graduate. Doesn't matter your skin color. That's a tough school to graduate. It's a high academic school, William & Mary. They're in Central Virginia. So I completely disagree with that one. John Mahler's independent doctor has cleared. I understand, but look up the rules on concussion protocol. They are clear. Independent doctor can clear him to practice today, which is probably why he started practicing fully today as opposed to yesterday when he was limited. But by rule, you cannot clear concussion protocol until you have 2 clear practices fully without symptom. Tim Burrow, Mike Tomlin was almost no, I'm not getting into racial stuff at all on this show. Sorry. Byron would be an offensive coordinator for someone from college. Ben has a quarterback coach or assistant quarterback coach would be good. Yeah. I'd be more fine with Ben as a quarterback coach. I can agree with that. John Mahler's on the Steelers website. I understand. Look up by rule how to clear concussion protocol. It doesn't say your independent doctor just says you're good. I think he was cleared to be able to practice fully was what happened today. I'm depressed too. Miles. I know, right? To Burrow. Big Ben was called Ben Rittenberger when Bill Cowher was his coach. Bill Tower. I know you're doing speech to text. That's great. John Thomas. I put Frankie in the pool. The day he came home at around 8 weeks old, he wasn't nervous at all. He's a little over 2.5 now. That's great. I had a kiddie pool. My daughter was playing in the kiddie pool. My puppy picked the dog up, put it in the kiddie pool, jumped out. Picked the dog up, put it in the kiddie pool, jumped out. Every time I went to go grab it the next time, would not go anywhere near me. Hates water. I don't know why. This dog just hates water. It doesn't make sense. These dogs should love water. Miles, accepting donations of It Will Be Okay to the Miles Foundation. Right? Oh, man. Evan Riley Henders, I meant for next season. Okay. Yeah, no, I got what you're saying. I got what you're saying. Next season, re-sign Walker. I wouldn't be against it. I definitely want. He'd be cheap. He'd be a cheap re-sign. All the other guys that we currently have on the roster are tenured for next year as well. Because when we re-signed, when Con Artist went out and got all those inside linebacker, he signed them all to 2 or 3 year contracts. So don't know if we have space for Walker there, especially if we draft another inside linebacker or potential good player. We'll have to see how that would work out, but I wouldn't be against it. I absolutely would not be against re-signing Walker for next year. Michael Hall, I'm still shocked we signed a quarterback to our practice squad with his own song, Trace McSorley. Hopefully we get to use him. I love Trace. I love Trace at Penn State. Thought he was one of the better quarterbacks at Penn State. Evan Riley Henders, how will you feel when Pittsburgh has their first losing season in 2 decades when it does happen? Well, I remember them. Yeah, I remember the, oh gosh, what was it? 6-win season, I guess, was Cowher's last. No, 8. He had an 8-8 season his last year. But Bill Cowher did have 2 losing seasons in a row, 6-10 and a 7-9 there for 99 and 98. And then back then, 1991, 7-9 for Chuck Noll. That was his last year. So yeah, one consistent aspect. When we finally replace a coach, they're either 500 or a losing coach, have a losing season. So we'll have to see where Coach Tomlin ends up this year. This no matter what, no matter how you slice it, not having a winning season this year is a failure. The way we started to be where we are now, it would be an absolute failure to not have a winning season. Michael Hall, do you think we could have honestly been at 10 or 11 wins by now? I thought we had got a lot of wins this season. We were lucky to get with Kenny's ability to come back at the end of games. Being honest. Fans like to dwell on the games you lost and forget about how close some of the games are that you won. We haven't won a game this year with over 7 points or 8 points over a score. Have we? No, I don't think we did. Even on that big win game, like 3 weeks ago, was that over? Was that a 10-point win? Now I got to look up the damn schedule because I just can't remember it. I mean, it was just a couple weeks ago, for gosh sakes. No, 400 yards of offense, only a 6-point win against the Bengals. So no, we haven't had a game this year that we've won by more than a score. Let me go back to the Raiders game. That was the only other one that I thought would have been close. 18. No, that was a 5-point win. So no, every single game that we won this season was under a touchdown. Under a touchdown. So you got to take that into respect too. So yeah, maybe we were kind of lucky to have the record that we have, but to play this poorly against 2-10 teams, no, there's no excuse for that. Absolutely none. Tim Burrow. Mike Tomlin admits in a pregame interview that Bob said that he is not been having his team specifically practice for specific quarterbacks this year. I know he's done it in the past. I know we definitely used to have Dobbs pretend he was Jackson, things like that. So this might be the case because we don't have anybody that can pretend to be Jackson this year. Any years talks about his team needing to have an identity this year. Says his team doesn't need an identity. Yeah, teams need identity. He's talking out his butt on that one. When Mitchell, the safety, would run the other locker rooms yelling to celebrate after making a tackle that came up first stone, like Deontay Johnson was celebrating the meaning. No matter what, guys, you guys are always going to find a reason to jump on Deontay Johnson. The guy didn't score a touchdown at all last year, and you guys killed him for it. Sure, he scored a touchdown when we're down, but hell, you guys want to jump down his throat for trying to provide some spark on a team that was listless that day? I'm not going to jump down his throat for that one. I'm really not. John Thomas, little playoff success isn't too much to ask for, is it? 3 playoff wins since 2011 isn't cutting it. I believe it's time for the Steelers to go in on a different direction at season's end. Probably won't happen, of course, but I truly believe it's time. I guess a lot of people share your opinion too, John Thomas. Tabura, when all the Steelers on the team knew Mike was letting only AB have his own apartment off St. Vincent's, and they had to pretend like there wasn't special treatment, it ruined real Steelers. Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's the only coach that ever got AB to play, and to play well for a lot of years. You want to take the good with the bad? Sometimes you got to. We weren't rooting against AB on all those touchdowns he was getting us. And maybe they should switch Fitzpatrick to a free roaming safety scheme. I'd be fine with that. Tim Burrow, Santonio Holmes wasn't breaking glasses over women's heads who stepped over his velvet rope at MVP selection in the club when Bill Cowher was coach, nor was Ben called Rapeless Burger. There was always issues with Ben when he was drafted. That was some of the discussion. His maturity was an issue, but nothing was fully vetted. If you're going to blame that on him, I don't blame people's off season and how they act outside of the football stadium on their coach. I just don't. Like, am I going to say Bill Belichick's a terrible coach because his tight end murdered 2 people? I'm not going to hold that on Bill Belichick. Yeah, maybe not the best idea to draft a guy like that when you knew he had gang signs all up his arms. But, I'm not going to place those murders on his head. You cannot place the off-season problems on the coaches because they're adults. They're going to make dumb decisions. Either they're going to learn from them and be coachable moments, or they're just going to keep getting worse. AB, it just kept getting worse. Ben, it became a coachable moment. He matured. He matured after that 2010 season. He was a different person, crazier, rapier Ben, I guess, was a little bit better winning games, but before 2010, because after 2010, he just didn't get back to the Super Bowl, but he did get to the AFC Championship. I'm not saying that's the reason why, obviously. I'm making a lighthearted joke about a topic I shouldn't be joking about. So please don't write me. Drew Belansky would love to have seen Kenny play behind Pouncey, DeCastro, Foster, Gilly, and Big Al. Yeah, easily. That's one of our best offensive lines. Absolutely would have been great to watch that. But I think we're starting to build one too. Jones is an anchor. We can build around him. Evan Riley Hinders. Should Pittsburgh call Brian Hartline offensive coordinator for Ohio State for the OC position? I've heard that name mentioned around. I hope it's an extensive process, and I hope a lot of people get interviewed. I'd be fine if he's one of the people that gets interviewed. Taburo, Joe Green was the right-hand man of Kevin Colbert, who had the final say on the draft picks frequently, and he was disgusted with Mike Tomlin allowing celebrate, meaning is, I don't know what you're trying to say there. Celebrate meaningless plays. I don't know what that means. Miles, use a high draft pick on an inside linebacker. Center, inside linebacker, safety to pair with Fitzpatrick. Those are my 3 mains. Those are my 3 biggest needs on this team. And then fill out for more offensive linemen and cornerbacks. You can never have too many cornerbacks and offensive linemen. And I'm preparing for if we have a losing season, it might be the best thing for us if we can get into the top 10 picks for real good people. I will always hope for the best for this team. And honestly, this is the last year. I talked about this last draft because of COVID, being able to take a year off and not counting against your eligibility. This is the last year for 5-year players because it's done after this year. So, last draft was super thick in talent the whole way through. We got great players in the 7th round. We didn't pick in the 5th or 6th. And we got 2 ballers in the 7th round. I love Trice. I think he's got starting potential in the NFL. And I love Anderson. He's our main backup. Dude might be a starter on this team in a year or two. So cannot fault these thick drafts with 5 years of eligibility players entering into them. So this is the last year for it. So this is the last draft you want to have a lot of picks for. Claude, use a high draft pick on a center. Yep. We're reading each other's minds. Joe Green left the Steelers early from little talked about scouting decisions. They let Scout, me, and Joe have final says in the first draft pick. Does it decide if a leader or not, for instance? I don't know what you're saying. If you're saying, because that sounds like a two-way argument. It sounds like a way that you could bash the coach either way. You could say, if this is what I think you're saying, that, Joe Green had a big say in who they drafted in the first round, and Tomlin allowed that. You think he lacks leadership for allowing Joe Green to do that, but then you can go ahead and argue the other way if he doesn't take Joe Green's opinion and be like, why wouldn't he take Joe Green's opinion? He's the best Steeler in history. He knows more about the Steeler way than any other guy. He'd know the right people to bring the team. Tomlin's an idiot. So right there, that's a two-way argument. And I just don't agree with it at all. Cowher had 3 losing seasons. Correct. Yeah, I don't get with the Joe stuff. Really, I don't. I'm off that topic right now. Ian White, Chuck Noll's last season as head coach went 7-9 and 91. Correct. Claude, facts. Here we go. I'm sick of fake Steeler fans calling a real Steeler fan who's born to a team and never won a playoff game ever. Then finally, at 10 years old, I see the immaculate reception, first win ever. That's a great way to see the beginning of Steeler football. Absolutely. Stood by the Steelers my whole childhood when I never won a playoff game, and a fool trying to call me spoiled. I know how old you are. You're older than us. Even if you're just legal drinking age, you really don't want to have many memories of what was going on when the Steelers won a championship. So quit pretending, youngins. Back when legal drinking age was 18. What are your thoughts on Porter Kidso? Love him. Love his mindset. He's got a goldfish mentality, short memory. So he's not out there worried about if he's making a mistake, and he's making plays. And my nickname for him is Drive Killer, because the guy seems to stand up big, and now he's starting to cover their best players. So that helps take one player off the field. Yep, I got that. If we don't draft Georgia center, it's a lost cause. That'd be great. Yeah, because there wasn't really a great center in last year's draft that I was excited about. So that means this year there should be a couple. Born and bred in Pittsburgh, and if you know Pittsburgh's neighborhoods, I can get specific, but I've lived all over the country now. Great North, Northwest, Chicago, Indiana, Ohio, Texas, Florida, to name some. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. Great North, Northwest, Chicago, Indiana, Ohio, Texas, Florida, some places. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. Ding, 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 ding. As for you, Tim Burrow, I know you've been everywhere. I've been everywhere. Press Graves, I want Shazier back. Oh, man, I wish that guy never got hurt. That guy we were winning the Super Bowl in 17. If Shazier didn't get hurt, we were winning that Super Bowl. Ian, I agree, Miles, but I don't think he will ever play again. Yeah, sucks. Shazier, great football player, bad husband. Hot take from Miles Pressgraves. That's where I'm going to end the show tonight, on the high note, on my biggest laugh, guys. Be sure to follow me at SN Stryker on my platforms. Of course, follow our great YouTube channel here, which you guys know, youtube.com/Steeler Nation. That's how you guys get all the alerts. I know a lot of you guys are grabbing it from Facebook, www.facebook.com/Steeler Nation.com. Big news. Steeler Nation just finally won the Steeler Nation moniker on X. So we are no longer going to be the L being a capital I. We are now going to be Steeler Nation on X as well. Super awesome stuff. So super excited to have that. And I'm sharing this news for the first time because we just got it across through the group me chats right before I jumped on air today. So big news. Of course, Terrible Tailgate will be coming up. I'll be talking about it not on next week's show, Don't know when it's going to be next week. I don't know if I'm going to be on Tuesday or Wednesday, because my week is going to be a little bit on the crazy side next week. Hopefully Tuesday at 8:30. But until then, guys, let's just make sure I didn't miss anything. Who's going to win the national championship? I'm waiting for an actual playoff system. I hate these 4-win things, letting good teams out. I don't care. But if you want to put my feet to the fire, I'll say Michigan because they cheated. I'll say Michigan's going to win. Ian, have a good night, Stryker. Go Steelers. You too, Ian. Great show. Thank you, Miles. You guys make this great. You guys tell your friends. That's how we get big. Tell your friends. You love the show. I know you love the show. You're back every week. Tell your friends the best show is my show, Stryker's Inside Slant over at Steeler Nation. Drew Belinsky. Later. Go Steelers. Thank you, Drew. Michael Hall. Good night, boss. Joiner. Great show, Stryker. Good night. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Tim Burrow, I said Ben would know a good coach than other talented guys. I miss a typo. Oh, yeah. I won't say an NO to a KNO. Yeah, because I always read it out loud. So it'll be it. No, I understand what you're saying. John, go Roll Tide. Okay, we got an Alabama fan. Good luck to you guys. Jeremiah, let's go Steelers. Alabama is going to take it. There we go. Of course, skin color doesn't matter. Truth. William Mary, he was a super talented athlete going wide receiver amongst the team without any other star. But yeah, there were many more players on that team that were black as well. But guys, that's all the time I got in the show. Thank you for joining me for Stryker's Inside Slant. I will also be rooting along with you as always, including Saturday. Go